Found at Goodwill, this small palm-sized ceramic item has markings on the bottom that are hard to make out. The end piece that sticks out has a hole through it, and there is a slit on the side. The finder plans to use it as a pot for an air plant, but is curious about its actual purpose. What is it? This small ceramic item looks like it might be an egg separator. You would crack a raw egg into the main cup or bowl of the separator. The egg white would then drain out through the slit on the side, while the intact yolk would be retained in the central cup. The part that sticks out might be a handle or a spout for pouring off the separated white. It's a simple kitchen gadget for a common baking or cooking task. The hole might be for hanging it when not in use. This vintage set, found in a late uncle's desk drawer, includes a flat plastic sheet with rows of uniform pyramidal protrusions and a matching red tool with a wheel that has the opposite pyramidal shapes. The tool and board definitely go together, but their purpose is a mystery. What are they? This looks like a handheld version of a check embosser or a check writer. Before digital printing, this was a security measure to prevent check fraud. After a check was written out by hand, it would be placed on the plastic sheet with the pyramidal bumps. The user would then run the wheeled red tool over the areas where the payee name and amount were written. The interlocking pyramidal shapes would emboss or perforate the paper in a distinctive pattern, making it very difficult for anyone to alter the writing on the check without leaving obvious signs of tampering. This piece of scientific equipment has a heavy steel base with a tall, square-bottomed, U-shaped aluminum piece attached. It has the product identifier number 75560, was made in Canada, and a Senko sticker. It looks like a standing tuning fork on a base but makes no real noise when struck. Well, what is it? A retired teacher who taught physics for decades identifies this as a fulcrum, specifically one meant to be used with a meter stick for classroom experiments demonstrating the principles of levers. A meter stick would be placed across the two notches at the top of the U-shape, allowing it to pivot. A special knife-edge clamp, also part of the set, would be attached to the meter stick, creating the precise pivot point. By hanging weights at different points, students could easily study concepts like mechanical advantage, torque, and the different classes of levers. Senko was a well-known supplier of scientific education equipment. Found on a beach in Aotearoa, New Zealand, this is a partial hard plastic disc. The finder's mom has been finding similar parts for over 2 years. The commenter asks if they are sure it's plastic. What is this? The commenter's question is a clue. This is very likely part of a clay pigeon or a clay target, used for sport shooting, specifically for sports like trap, skeet, or sporting clays. Despite the name clay pigeon, modern targets are usually made from a brittle mixture of pitch and pulverized limestone or other materials, designed to shatter when hit by shotgun pellets. They are shaped like an inverted saucer, and this found object is a fragment of one of these targets. Finding them near a beach could mean there is or was a shooting club nearby that shot out over the water. This 11-inch long old paper wood tube was found in a grandparent's coin collection. The ends are metal and appear to go into the tube. It sounds like it has multiple heavy objects sliding around inside. It can't be opened without force. What is it for? After deciding to cut it open, the finder solved the mystery. The tube was full of mercury dimes. This was apparently a form of long-term coin storage. Coin tubes or rolls are a common way for collectors to store a specific quantity of a single type of coin. This one, with its tight metal ends, seems to have been designed for more permanent, secure storage rather than easy access. The fact that the aluminum ends went an inch and couldn't be pulled out suggests it was not meant to be opened non-destructively. It was a time capsule for a coin collector's treasures. This long, ferrous, nail-like object was found in upstate New York. The head is 2.5 inches in diameter, and the object is about 42 inches long. What is this massive spike? This is a stake for a large, commercial-grade tent, the kind that would be used for a wedding, a festival, or another large outdoor event. These very large tents, often called pole tents or marquee tents, are held up by immense tension from ropes or straps. To anchor these ropes securely to the ground, they require these massive, heavy-duty steel stakes, which are driven deep into the earth with sledgehammers to provide the necessary holding power to keep the massive structure stable, especially in windy conditions. This is an awl-shaped tool with a metal spike and a plastic handle. It's 13.5 centimeters long, and an S is on the head. What is this specific type of pointed tool? This looks like a rigger's fid or a marlin spike. It is a tool used by sailors, riggers, and anyone who works with rope. Its primary purpose is for undoing tight knots. The smooth, tapered metal spike can be worked into a jammed knot, allowing the user to pry the strands of rope apart and loosen it. It is also used for splicing rope, joining two ropes, or forming an I-loop by weaving the strands together. It's an essential tool in traditional sailing and rope work. This 4R2 metal thing is fastened to the leg or underside of each desk in an office building. It's about 2 or 1.5 feet in size and made of sturdy stainless steel. The desks are possibly from the 1990s. What are these? A former PC tech hates these things and knows exactly what they are. These are PC security mounts, extremely common in offices from the late 80s to the mid-90s. The system consisted of two plates. One would be stuck or screwed to the desk, and the other to the bottom of the desktop computer tower. Two rods would then be inserted through both plates, and these rods were secured with small keyed locks. This physically locked the computer to the desk, preventing theft of what was then very expensive office equipment. As the tech notes, they were a major hassle to deal with during repairs. This black plastic clip or buckle is about 1 inch. There are teeth on one side, and it appears to have ears and a tail, giving it a somewhat animalistic look. It's almost snapped on one side, so it may be part of another item. What is it? This is identified as some sort of bracket for a camera. Specifically, it might be a clip or a part of a mounting system for a small action camera, like a GoPro, a webcam, or a similar small device. The teeth could be for gripping a surface or another part of the mount. The ears and tail might just be part of a stylized design, or they could be functional parts of the clip's mechanism. Without more context, it's hard to be certain, but it's a component from a larger camera mounting accessory. For a couple of weeks, a strange sound, like a Rainmaker toy, was heard coming from a PC tower when the desk was knocked. Then, an abundance of a salt-like substance was noticed near the tower. What was going on? Update. The mystery is solved, and it has nothing to do with the PC. On closer inspection, It was a squishy stress ball that had been kept on the desk. Over time, the outer skin of the stress ball had corroded or developed a small leak. The salt-like substance was the internal filling, often a type of powder, small beads, or a granular gel that was slowly leaking out everywhere. The Rainmaker sound was this loose filling shifting around inside the damaged ball. Mystery solved, and PIC is safe. This small glass bottle has a pointy, hollow bronze lid. It's 15 centimeters tall and dry. Powdery plant material is at the bottom. It was bought at a thrift store. The lid screws on but isn't airtight. Patterns on the bronze base seem to be suns or pointy stars. What is it? From a reverse image search, this is most likely a perfume dispenser or a decorative perfume bottle. The ornate bronze work, with its screw-on lid and decorative base, is characteristic of perfume bottles from various regions, particularly the Middle East. The hollow, pointy lid might be a dabber or applicator for applying the perfume. The dry plant material inside could be remnants of potpourri or dried herbs that were once part of an oil-based perfume or a scented water that has long since evaporated, leaving the botanical residue behind. This Apple-branded charging cord was found with an iPod, a Nintendo DS, and various paraphernalia. What is this specific Apple accessory? This looks like the charger and USB adapter specifically for an Apple iPod Shuffle, likely the second, third, or fourth generation model. Unlike other iPods that used a 30-pin or lightning connector, these tiny screenless iPod Shuffles had a unique charging method. The device itself would plug directly into this special USB dock, which used the 3.5mm headphone jack for both audio output and for charging and data syncing. It's a very specific cable for a very specific family of tiny MP3 players. This metal part, about an inch long, juts out from a poster frame. It's obviously for hanging, but there doesn't seem to be a way to do that with a standard nail or hook. What is this? Yes, it is meant to hang on a nail. This is a type of security or flush mount picture frame hanger. To use it, you would have a nail or screw protruding slightly from the wall. You hang the frame by sliding it down over the nail. The head of the nail goes between the metal bracket and the frame itself, and the shaft of the nail then rests securely in one of the small notches. This holds the frame very close to the wall and makes it more difficult to knock off accidentally. It is a very common type of picture frame hardware. At a school soccer field, this set of blue poles is about 20 feet tall and 40 feet apart. It has connections for something and has been unused for years, maybe decades. What are these structures behind the goal? These poles probably once had nets strung between them to act as a backstop. On a soccer field, especially in a school or park setting where space might be limited, these large nets are installed behind the goals. Their purpose is simply to stop errant shots that miss the goal or fly over the crossbar. This keeps the soccer balls from being kicked far into the woods, down a hill, or into a street, which makes the game safer and saves a lot of time retrieving balls. The nets have likely deteriorated and been removed, leaving only the support poles behind. These yellow cylindrical objects, with apparently helical markings or shrouding, are seen at Edinburgh Airport, opposite the departure gates. What are they? These yellow cylindrical objects are very likely water pumps, specifically submersible pumps that are part of the airport's stormwater management or fire suppression system. The helical shrouding around them could be a protective casing, a vortex breaker to ensure smooth intake, or part of the mounting system. Airports are massive, paved areas that generate huge amounts of rainwater runoff, which needs to be collected and pumped away. Alternatively, they could be pumps for the fire hydrant system, ready to supply large volumes of water in an emergency. Found amongst antique jewelry, these are some type of pin about 2.53 inches long, made of metal. The ends have safety caps. What are they for? These are likely 1970s-era stick pins or lapel pins. A stick pin is a long, straight pin with a decorative ornament at the top, used as a fashion accessory. Men would wear them in the knot of their tie or on the lapel of a jacket, while women would wear them as a brooch on a blouse or dress. They were very popular for decades and saw a resurgence in the 1970s. The safety caps are to cover the sharp point, both for safety and to keep the pin from falling out of the garment. This mysterious lab item is a rubbery, flexible disc about 5 inches across. It was found with a second one and 2 accompanying wrenches. It doesn't seem to be a lid and doesn't fit any centrifuge or other equipment the lab has. What is it? This is identified as a grommet for a lab cabinet. In a laboratory, it is often necessary to run tubing for water, gas, or vacuum, or cables through the walls of a cabinet, a fume hood, or a piece of equipment. A large rubber grommet like this one is used to line the hole that has been cut. It protects the tubing or cables from being chafed by the sharp metal edge of the hole, and it can also provide a seal to prevent drafts or vapor leakage. The wrenches might be spanner wrenches, used for tightening a locking ring that secures the grommet in place. This is a decorative wood piece, about 2 feet long and 8 to 9 inches in diameter, and solid. What could this be a part of? These could be fancy armrests, perhaps stacked sideways in the photo. Given their solid wood construction, length, and decorative nature, they are likely the armrests from a large, high-end piece of furniture like a sofa or an armchair. In some designs, particularly Art Deco or mid-century modern styles, armrests were prominent, sculpted wooden elements. The 2-foot length would be appropriate for a substantial chair. They have likely been removed from an old piece of furniture that was being reupholstered or was discarded. Found on a small riverbank, this is a piece of metal, possibly iron, about 16 inches long, that folds in on itself. What is this tool? This is some form of a chain wrench. It could be either a filter wrench or a pipe wrench. The tool works by wrapping the flexible chain around a round object, like an oil filter or a pipe. The chain is then hooked into a slot on the handle. As the handle is turned, the chain tightens its grip on the object, allowing the user to apply significant torque to loosen or tighten it. This design is particularly useful for gripping smooth, round objects where a standard wrench would slip, or for working in tight spaces. This flat black plastic object was found in the garden patio of a new home. It has a circle on one end with 3 posts and a spike on the other. What is this specific garden tool? This is an assistance lever for opening a panel on a compost ball. A compost ball is a large spherical composter that is designed to be rolled around the yard to mix and aerate the compost inside. It has a circular door or panel for adding and removing material. This plastic lever is a tool that came with the composter. The 3 posts on the circular part of the tool fit into 3 corresponding holes on the composter's door. The tool then provides the leverage needed to easily twist and open the often tight-fitting door. This metal stand is 19 inches high with a 13-inch diameter. The top supports are flat. The finder wonders if it's from a drum kit, perhaps a snare stand. The commenter thinks this is a floral stand, not a snare stand. A snare drum stand would need to be very sturdy and would have rubber grips to securely hold the drum and prevent it from rattling. The 13-inch diameter is also on the small side for a standard snare. This is more likely a lightweight, decorative stand used by florists or at events. A potted plant or a floral arrangement in a vase would be placed on the flat-top supports. It's a simple, elegant stand for displaying plants or flowers. 843. Halter whip for horses. Found at the dump, this item is about 2.5 to 3 feet long and weighs about a pound. It has a paracord and rubber handle with a synthetic black material around a stick. It makes a cool sound when swung. The finder wonders if it's a whip, a farm implement, or something for kink. This is definitely a whip for working with horses, judging by its relatively short length, 2.53 feet. It is identified as a halter whip, also known as a training stick or lead line whip. These are not typically used to strike the horse, but rather as an extension of the handler's arm during groundwork or in-hand training. The sound it makes when swung and the visual cue of the whip's movement are used to encourage the horse to move forward, yield to pressure, or perform specific maneuvers, all while the handler is on the ground leading the horse with a halter. This 29-inch by 6-inch wooden cabinet is next to the kitchen sink. It has no shelves. Baking sheets just fall into a 1-inch depression on the inner right side and don't stay inside properly. What is this oddly designed cabinet for? A cabinet installer explains that this narrow cabinet is a compromise in kitchen design. The sink is usually centered on a window, and sometimes this leaves an awkward, narrow space in the corner that isn't wide enough for a traditional cabinet. The easiest solution is a blank filler panel, but that wastes space. This is a cheaper, if not very functional version of a proper tray rollout unit. It is indeed intended for storing flat pans, baking sheets, and cutting boards vertically, but its poor design, lacking proper dividers or a good base, makes it not very effective at its job. This tool has a wooden handle and a metal base, probably stainless steel or aluminum, and is about 3 feet in length. It was left behind by a previous owner of a home. What is this mixing tool? This is a mud mixer, specifically designed for mixing dry drywall compound, joint compound, or mud with water. The metal base, often with a paddle or cage-like design, is placed in a 5-gallon bucket containing the dry powder and water. The long shaft is then chucked into a powerful, low-speed drill. The drill spins the mixer head, quickly and efficiently mixing the compound to a smooth, consistent paste, ready for taping and finishing drywall. It can also be used for mixing other materials like non-aggregate mortar, cement, or, as the commenter humorously suggests, mashing a very large quantity of potatoes. This round stand has a ledge inside and an oval hole. It was found at a hotel front desk and seems like an office supply. What is it? This is pretty surely a cell phone holder or stand designed for propping up a phone in landscape, horizontal mode. The phone would rest on the inner ledge, with the back of the phone supported by the main circular part of the stand. The oval hole might be purely decorative or could be a pass-through for a charging cable to be connected while the phone is on the stand. These are common desktop accessories for hands-free video viewing, video calls, or simply to keep the phone at a convenient viewing angle. A weird, soft, and slimy circular object came up out of a sink drain. What could this be? This looks like a foam gasket that was used between two connections in the sink's plumbing underneath. The drain pipes under a sink are often connected with slip joint nuts and washers. Sometimes, a foam or rubber gasket is used instead of a standard plastic slip washer to create a watertight seal between two pipe sections. Over time, this foam can degrade, break apart, and a piece of it could get washed down into the P-trap, only to be later forced back up the drain by pressure changes. The commenter advises checking for leaks under the sink, as a missing gasket means a connection is no longer sealed. This trailer-size measuring device was spotted on Route 28B near Urubamba, Peru. It was observed stopping every 500 to 1,000 meters. When it stopped, a central leg came down and lifted the yellow part free of the gray trailer. After a few minutes, the leg retracted, and the vehicle drove on to the next point. What is this road testing machine? This device is a falling weight deflectometer, FWD. It is a non-destructive testing device used by pavement engineers to assess the structural condition of a road. The machine drops a calibrated heavy weight onto a load plate on the pavement surface, simulating the load of a moving vehicle. A series of sensors then measures the pavement's deflection or rebound in response to this impact. This data is used to evaluate the structural integrity of the pavement layers, identify voids underneath, and estimate the remaining life of the road. The brand Kuab is visible on its side, a known manufacturer of FWDs. 3 of these heavy metal plates were dug out of a lawn. They were near the surface, laying flat. Each is about 50-60 centimeter wide, weighs around 30 kilogram, and has a round hole in the middle right, a rounded notch on the front edge, and a rectangular notch at each end. What are they? These heavy metal plates look like antique or vintage tractor weights, specifically suitcase weights. To improve traction and stability, especially when pulling heavy implements, farmers add extra weight to their tractors. These flat rectangular cast iron weights are designed to be hung from a bracket on the front, or sometimes the rear of the tractor. The various notches and holes are for mounting them securely to the bracket and for handling. Finding them buried in a lawn suggests they were from an old tractor used on the property long ago and were eventually discarded or forgotten.
If you love uncovering strange and mysterious objects, hit that like button and subscribe. Stay curious. More finds coming soon.